Welcome in. It is always a wonderful Wednesday. We got a full house. Dennis Philippi is here. Joe Dank is here. We will end our Wednesday with Munzie, who will soon be departing, just like myself, for Fort Worth, Texas, and the American Athletic Conference Tournament Championship. Last time it will be played in Fort Worth. We'll get into that a little bit with Joe Dank and, of course, with Munzie as well. Let the awards flow. Penny, Coach of the Year. PJ, Player of the Year. Dane, Danger, Newcomer of the Year. All of those guys cashed in. Grizz tonight against Utah, trying to keep a winning streak going. And they're 12.5-point favorites to beat Utah to win their fourth in a row. They're back tied for third in the West, and they're only a game behind the Denver Nuggets. I don't think they'll catch the Nuggets, but the way the Lakers are going, who knows? Some big stories today. Besides Tigers and college basketball, the Tiger Woods story, who is now out of the Masters. If you'll recall, Connor Bedard. Oh, wait. It's Brian Dacus in the best, I think, logo in all of sport. That sweater or jersey, whatever you want to say, is the best jersey in all of sport. It's the Blackhawks and Connor Bedard, soon to become the greatest ever to play the game. What prompted you to wear that today? Just to say goodbye to me?
Yeah, well, Dave, I was looking in my closet today. I wanted to wear a hockey sweater today. I saw this one. I said, I've worn this a couple times this year, but I think every time I've worn it, you've been out of town doing a Tiger game. So I was like, you know what? He's about to go out of town. I want to wear a hockey jersey today. I'll wear the Bedsy.
So you do know that if Memphis were to win the American, that you're going to have to wear that shirt before I depart for the NCAA.
That's right. Yeah, it's going to be the good luck.
Yeah, I like that.
That's fine.
I like that. Back to my point, though. You'll recall I said this, Bryant, when he declined to play in the Players, which, by the way, this was his last year of eligibility based on the 19 Masters. This was not a good omen. No one knew, because he'd been playing in the TGL. Of course, his team was not very good, didn't make the playoffs, but he played in the final event for them, for his team, Jupiter, and no one knew this dude was about to be out, and maybe out forever. I don't hold out much hope. He'll play in the Masters until he's like, what is the rule, 60, 65? But he's never going to be a factor again, which, it happens. It happened to Jack Nicklaus. It happened to Gary Player. It happened to Ben Hogan. It happened to all the greats. It's happened to Tiger Woods. The unfortunate thing is now we know it's now. He's not coming back from this. There's just no way. So that is kind of sad. And, it's interesting, though. I was reading this. Bernard Langer, who's probably the greatest old golfer in the history of the game, he had this injury last year, early in the season, came back in 3 months. Same injury. So that gives you a little hope if you're like Ted Butler and you want to hold on to something because you love Tiger Woods so much. And here's the most amazing thing. Because this is never going to get beaten, okay? This is a record. It's like DiMaggio. Who are we? It's like 50,000 points. I don't think that'll ever get beaten, that LeBron has. This is incredible. It could be increased next year. In every year, for the 18 years that Bernard Langer has been on the senior tour, he has won at least one event.
Wow.
18 years.
That's incredible.
Usually, you get to 50, and there's a window of 3 to 5 years where you can really play well, and then, age kind of gets to you, and the person that was 45 when you started playing comes on. He's pretty good. This guy's won for 18 straight years. That's just like crazy. The last guy that was kind of like that, this was, 15, 20 years ago probably. His name escapes me at the moment. He's a great athlete. He played football at the University of Colorado. He was a defensive back. I can't think of his name right. It'll come to me. But he was the best senior player. until Bernard Longer. Longer, I don't think anybody's going to beat. A tournament win in every year for 18 years on the senior tour?
Hale Irwin.
Hale Irwin, thank you. Hey, I should remember Hale Irwin because he was so good for so long, and that you wouldn't talk about him amongst the greats of all time, but you would as a senior because he had so many titles.
Won 20 PGA Tours. I mean, that's
he did.
pretty good.
He won 20 events on the PGA Tour.
That's what this says. Yeah,
he was pretty darn good. That is for sure. And then one last thing, sad story, but an unbelievable story. If you think about how somebody could go from nothing to greatness, not just sport, but beyond sport. But the story of Junior Bridgman. And just to let you know, Junior Bridgman, according to Forbes, was worth $1.4 billion when yesterday he passed away at a fundraising event in Louisville, which is where he starred in college. He stayed there. When he was a kid, 13 years old, he could not join the Boy Scouts because his family could not afford $1.25 at the time to become a member of the Boy Scouts. Then he was such a great player. His high school won all these events, and he went to Louisville. They got to the Final Four. And he got drafted, and he was the sixth man of the year. Played 12 years in the NBA. Never made more than $350,000. His lifetime earnings in the NBA were under $3 million. I think it was like $2.95 million lifetime earnings. So smart. So entrepreneurial. He took that meager, by today's standards, earnings. He ended up at one time with 450 fast food restaurants. I think the majority of them Wendy's. He then bought Coca-Cola distributorships in North America because he had some in Canada and in the United States. And you know the rest is history. $1.4 billion from literally not being able to pay $1.25 to join the Boy Scouts. That is a self-made man everywhere. On the court, off the court, and by the way, an unbelievable philanthropist and giver. This was a life well lived and a great story. It's sad. Literally, he had a heart attack at a fundraiser at a luncheon. And just when your time is up, your time is up. Speaking of which, we know all about time.
It's time for Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave. Dennis on Dave.
Welcome to Dennis on Dave.
What you got for us this morning?
Well,
Mr.
thanks for
Phillip?
bumming everybody out right before I come on. Always try to have a story that's a real drag before I come on your show.
I'm sorry.
I thought Tom Watson was a pretty solid older golfer.
I think he was. I don't think he won as many senior events as Hale Irwin.
I think he won some PGA events when he was fairly along.
He might have won several in his 40s, yeah.
Okay, so you mentioned...
Now, you're talking Tom Watson's one of the greatest golfers of all
Absolutely.
time. He's
Big
in the
fan.
same conversation with the other guys I mentioned.
You mentioned that the Lakers might be going in the wrong direction. Of course, LeBron has a sprained groin. And it's one you find yourself saying the weirdest stuff when you're a sports fan. I was sitting by myself watching this game. My wife wasn't in the room when I was watching.
You were watching the Lakers Celtics when this happened.
And I saw him land. I saw the way he landed, and I said out loud, "Ooh, that's a groin." There's not a lot of areas in life where you're going to say that.
That's true.
Ooh, that's good. That's a groin. And that have you ever pulled a groin? I mean, your own.
I have, yes.
Yeah, and it is I was wondering if that was going to get you.
You didn't quite word that.
I said it exactly the way I meant to. But it's a really nagging injury.
I have a very family-oriented audience, Dennis.
A groin is a very, very nagging injury, and that's going to be a problem this late in the season. As well as they were playing and trying to do those breakaways with a groin is going to be a problem.
I think, the last time he had this, it was a little bit more severe, but he was out a month, and then he had to get back into fitness level. And if this is the same case, goodbye Lakers, because Luka and him had pretty good chemistry. What did they win? They won like 11 in a row?
Yeah, but so much of that is LeBron doing those breakaways and Luka throwing those long passes, and LeBron's not going to be able to do those breakaways with a pulled groin. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Last night, if you were watching... Oh, and also this about LeBron. I'm sure you saw LeBron having the conversation with Stephen A. Smith.
Oh, yeah, he was very upset because he's picked on Bronny.
Stephen A. has run down Bronny a lot. Now, LeBron hasn't given me grief about it because he doesn't listen to this show anymore. But he gives it to Stephen A., and then Stephen A. went on the air and groveled for 5 minutes. It was nothing but, this is not a player, this is a father. This is a father who is defending his son. I was wrong for criticizing him as much as I did. It was just,
but I will say this. I thought in the beginning, Stephen A. Smith actually, this might have been through the recruiting process, was saying that LeBron was a bad basketball parent.
Yeah. Oh, no,
So
yeah, absolutely.
He was
He's right.
not just pointing the finger at Bronny,
But at LeBron,
but
too.
at
Yeah.
LeBron.
Well, and it finally, eventually, apparently, it got to LeBron,
Yeah.
and he had enough. He was strongly worded enough to motivate Stephen A. to do a very, very long apology.
Did you notice, seriously, that this confrontation came right after Stephen A. Smith agreed to a $100 million deal with ESPN?
For doing exactly this.
Exactly.
I mean, throw in Molotov cocktails.
Exactly.
That's what he's getting paid for. Shaq, of course, is being paid to be on the post-game show. And last night, he congratulated Chauncey Billups on the great job that he's done turning around the Detroit Pistons. Chauncey Billups doesn't coach the Detroit Pistons. He coaches the Trailblazers. But Shaq said, I like what Chauncey's doing in Detroit.
Oh.
He's not in Detroit. A class action suit has been filed out of for some guy out of Charlotte, my hometown, has filed a class action suit because he wants to stop mature Australian rules football players from being college punters. Have you heard about this?
No, I have not. So in other words, a
Good
guy
point.
who's experienced in the Australian rules football league, they've been poaching them to play college football.
In 2023, 12 out of 14 SEC punters were Australians, mature Australians.
How old is mature?
25 was the number that was tossed
Okay.
around.
Okay.
That year, 61 out of 133 programs had at least one Australian punter. And
You know that Memphis was one of the first to have them.
I did not.
Tom Hornsey was one of the first Australian kickers, and really what happened was there was a former, like the first guy from Australia that became a good punter. He then started punting clinics in Australia and having summer camps. And those students at those summer camps were getting shipped off to college. He was getting all these kids scholarships in the United States.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember who that dude was, but
And
that
now
was the beginning. Now it's an industry.
And now nearly half of them, nearly half of Division I schools have an Australian punter, a mature Australian punter.
Including Memphis the last couple of years.
And this guy who filed the lawsuit, he said he filed it because he just wants a level playing field. He thinks that punters in college should be 18 or 19 and not 25. And he apparently has not been following college football.
Right.
Because it's not college football anymore. It's professional football. And if the best punters are from Australia, that's the guys they're going to hire.
That is really, when you first started this, my first thoughts were, it's really crazy. Because years ago, we would have said, wait a second, the guy was a pro. He was getting paid to kick in Australia. How can he be an amateur
How
and
can he
kick in
possibly have
America at
eligibility?
the college level? It's because they pay people in college in America now.
It's
to
not
play.
it's not the Jesse Owens story.
No.
But that's good. Japan has a big problem now in their powerboat racing. Cheating in their powerboat racing.
How do you cheat in powerboat? More horsepower or something?
Well, who's telling this story? You or me?
I'm asking.
There are 4 sports that you can bet on legally in Japan.
Really?
There are
Baseball?
four sports. No, you can't bet on baseball.
What?
You can. Hang on. Give me a second. Let me find it here. You can legally bet on in Japan powerboats racing, horse racing, speedway, which is flat track motorcycle racing, and cycling. Those are the 4 sports that you can legally bet on in Japan.
You can't bet on golf. You can't bet on baseball.
Can't bet on
Baseball's
any
their
of those
national
things.
sport.
You can't. But you can't bet on any of them. Those are the only 4 that you can bet on legally in Japan. And what they're doing now, these powerboat races are insane. They have a couple of thousand of them a year. They're a week long. They have a race every day. And what they're doing now is they're locking the speedboat racers in apartments without a phone or internet connection, so they won't collude to cheat. So they won't agree with one another who's going to win the race, because it had become a real problem.
Wow.
It's, I was and this is apparently insane. I mean,
why don't they just say you can't bet on it anymore, and that's the end of it?
Who knows? But they wear like Kevlar helmets and Kevlar suits. I mean, it's unbelievably violent and dangerous, and now they're having a problem with the gambling. And it is both men and women racing these power boats, ranging in age from 17 to 75. So don't say you didn't learn anything today. Now, when I got up this morning, I thought Aaron Rodgers was gone to the Steelers. I thought that was a done deal.
Yes.
Apparently, it's not a done deal. He's still holding out that 1% possibility that he might end up going to Minnesota, apparently.
Yeah, I heard that.
I am so sick of people talking about Aaron Rodgers and saying, well, what he brings is maturity and stability. Age and maturity are not the same thing. Just because he's 40 years old, almost 41 years old, doesn't mean he's mature. He's not. Aaron Rodgers, I'll say it, is a backstabbing rat. He is a problem no matter where he goes. He was a problem with the Jets. If you can be a problem with the Jets, who have sucked for decades, you can be a problem on any team. He's never going to be healthy enough to be a great quarterback, and he's never going to be a great leader. He's not a great leader. He's a chump. And I feel so sorry for the Steelers. They had a good, solid young quarterback, and now if he goes there, they're going. But they had actually offered Sam Darnold the job. The Steelers had straight up offered Sam Darnold the job, and they didn't offer him enough money, so he turned them down.
He is a backstabbing rat.
He is. He's a backstabbing rat.
If I were the Steelers now, I wouldn't want him.
No, of course not. Why would anybody want him?
Maybe he sabotaged that on purpose. Maybe he doesn't really want to play, but he loves all the attention. Could that be it?
Oh, he wants to play. He just wants to play for a winning team. And
no, the Steelers.
I know. The Steelers are a very solid team. They just picked up a great receiver. Your Bears have made a lot of good moves.
I think so.
Well,
I am very quietly optimistic about what we are seeing. Offensive linemen are coming.
Yep.
Now, Caleb Williams has to really be the deal.
And I think he will be. I really do. I think 17th century poet Ben Johnson is going to do a great job coaching him. He's got him a left guard. That's the most important thing. He's got somebody who's going to protect him. That's what you got to have. A couple of other brief things. Marshall Faulk has become the running backs coach for Colorado, and he introduced himself to the team. He came out and said, I'm Marshall Faulk. You can Google me. Because he just assumed, and rightly so, that college kids have no idea who Marshall Faulk is.
Well, that could very well be.
And he was an incredible athlete.
You would think that Deion would have said, here's who I'm bringing in, one of the great running backs of all time.
Right. Instead of just going, no, just go up and introduce yourself.
Yeah, right.
Just go say hi to the players. And, of course, the A's and the Rays will both be playing in minor league ballparks.
Yes.
Roughly a third the size of major league ballparks next year. Commissioner Rob Manfred called the parks intimate and charming.
What else is he going to say?
Yeah, well, you can't say embarrassing or terrible for baseball.
Well, you know what? The Rays, I feel bad for. The Rays, that was a hurricane. So they're lucky.
Absolutely.
Have you ever seen the stadium, the George Steinbrenner Field in Tampa? It's right next door to Raymond James Football Stadium. It is actually a very pretty ballpark, but I don't see how it even seats 10,000, to be honest with you.
Yeah, these are really small ballparks.
Yeah, and then the one in Sacramento, that's just because the A's are a ridiculous organization, and you know, they bolted from Oakland. I get it. Because Oakland is a poor community that said, we got other issues. We're not paying for a billionaire
right.
to build him a stadium.
No, no.
And look what he did. So that could be, and we'll talk with Joe about this really coming up, could be a lesson for Memphis.
Practically in the same breath as calling the ballparks intimate and charming, he also reiterated, Manfred did, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, that he still is he wants to expand Major League Baseball by 2 more teams before he retires in 2029. I just don't see that there's a demand for 2 more Major League Baseball teams.
Well, Nashville and Vegas, isn't that what? Well, Vegas is going to have a team. Nashville, and I don't know where else it would be.
Columbus? I don't know. It's not going to be here.
No.
And plus, they have a 2027 contract negotiations coming up, and we know how well that generally goes for baseball, because as soon as their contract is up, we start hearing work stoppage.
Hey, I wonder, the owners, this is a good question for another week, but the owners will get 2 billionaires putting up Lord knows how much to get in. Maybe I'll just make this up and just say $10 billion a team. That's $20 billion, right?
Yep.
Do the players get any of that?
No.
I don't think in the past they have.
No.
But maybe that could be a sticking point, or that could be a point as part of these negotiations to talk the players into wanting it.
I think Manfred has not been well regarded during his tenure as commissioner of Major League Baseball. I mean, he's done some good things. The pitch clock is good.
I will say I'm not sure there's ever been a commissioner in my lifetime that was really, truly appreciated, except for maybe Bart Giamotto, who passed away very early.
Yeah, he wasn't commissioner very long.
No.
But he was very well respected.
And you realize his son is one heck of an actor.
What?
His son?
Oh, God, yeah, of course, Paul Giamatti. Yeah.
That's his son.
I had forgotten that. Let's see. Just wrapping up a couple of last thoughts here. Daniel Jones. I told you last week or the week before that the Colts had said that they were going to have competition for quarterback with Anthony Richardson when Anthony Richardson was the only quarterback on the Colts roster.
Right.
Well, now he has to deal with Daniel Jones, who was, frankly, the only quarterback on the Giants roster. And between the two of them, they've both thrown more interceptions than touchdowns.
Yeah.
So neither one of them is the solution.
You know what Bear Bryant used to say, don't you?
Daniel Jones is a bum?
No, but close. He say, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterback.
Yeah, if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
There
That
you
it?
go. That's about it.
You're done? All right, since you're
Backstabbing rat.
got that, you're usually, you like to say that you're so on with your predictions. Tell me right now, what seed will the University of Memphis have?
It will be a 7 seed. All right. They will be a 7 seed because I believe that they will lose on Sunday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who are they playing on Sunday?
I have no idea.
His predictions can only go so far.
See, that's the beautiful part about my presence here on the show.
Let's go.
I have no accountability.
Let me throw a dart out there.
That's a good point.
That was a ratty kind of a prediction.
I've talked to Jeff Hewlett about doing a jingle for me about how I have no accountability. I can say whatever I want because I'm not a sports reporter. I'm just a goofball.
And when these goofy predictions come,
then I crow about it. And when
Victory
they
lap.
don't, I deny I ever said it.
right, that's the perfect way. That is Dennis Philippi.
No accountability.
That is his essence. That is for sure. Not like Joe Dank, who's such a sweet guy. And I must say, when I think of sweetness, what is the first thing that comes to my mind? It's Dinstall's. And the madness is beginning. Dinstall's has all the sweet treats, whether you're traveling to the games or you're watching from home. Cashew Crunch, by the way. I love it when Becky used to say this to me all the time. This is the perfect thing to take anywhere because it never melts. Never will it melt, and it is truly the signature. You can go to Denver, and they got some really good candies in Denver. You can go to San Francisco. I think that's C's. They got some really good candies. But none of them do Cashew Crunch. It's got a secret formula. Got a little tinge of coconut. I think that's the key. But they never tell you. Same thing with strawberries, Nobody does it like Dinstall's because no one knows what's in the fondant that breaks down the strawberry, that makes it so juicy that you have to eat it over a plate or it'll be all over your clothes, I promise you. It's that good, though. It really is. And, of course, there's the turtlettes. There's chocolate basketballs. They got it all for the Final Four. And, of course, chocolate-covered grapes and pineapple to go with those strawberries. Stop by, pick them up today. 5 locations. They got you in the burbs, Germantown and Collierville. They got you downtown. That's a quaint little store. I really like it. And then, of course, where they make it in Pleasant View and in Laurelwood, in my neck of the woods. You can't beat it. It's everywhere. It's the sweetest part of Memphis. It's Dinstall's. Joe Dank on the Business of Sports. He comes your way in just a minute. Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roofing. Did you know there are so many roofing companies in Memphis that I don't even know them all? So that begs the question, which one should you choose? So I thought I'd give you a little background about me. My grandfather was a World War II Marine. My father worked for the University of Memphis for nearly 30 years. My mother, a pianist at Raleigh Baptist Church. Seems like forever. I went to Brownsville Road, Craigmont, and Bartlett High School, class of 81. We support the local school systems, youth athletics, and believe in what St. Jude and Le Bonheur stand for. I'm a Tiger and Grizz fan. The point? Memphis is my home. Five-Ash Roofing will be around if you ever have a problem with the service we provide. Five-Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical, with deep local ties in our community. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing is what we do. We're here for you.
I had the worst dream last night. We were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/score. Ethos.com/score.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
Napa Cafe celebrates 26 years in 2024. Hi, I'm Glenda Hastings, owner of Napa Cafe, and I want to thank you for making us part of your dining experiences. Treat yourself tonight with a delightful dinner. Maybe start with an appetizer like our baked sweet peculiar peppers stuffed with goat cheese and mozzarella, finished with basil pistou, and move on to one of our cozy dishes like the double chocolate stout braised boneless beef short ribs with tonkatsu sauce and creamy mashed potatoes. Or a fresh seafood dish like our pan-roasted ginger-buttered sea bass with cilantro soy vinaigrette. I get hungry just talking about it. Don't forget about dessert, our famous sweet buttermilk pie with brown sugar sauce, or drink your dessert with one of our signature dessert cocktails, like the lemon cheesecake martini, lemony, icy, frothy, and dusted with graham cracker crumbs. Napa Cafe, open Wednesday through Saturday for dinner starting at 5 o'clock. For reservations, visit our website at napacafe.com. Come join us as we celebrate 26 years of Napa Cafe. We can't wait to serve you.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshyn.
All we hear is Radio Papa.
Welcome back in to the Family Leisure Studios. Don't forget the first ever preseason pool spa patio event. It's going on. I'm talking pools under $2,000. The spas are under $3,000. They got the newest thing, the cold plunge and the swim spas. And by the way, those are now priced to move, just like the patio furniture. Those sets, because they're moving the 24s out, you can get for under $800. And this is state-of-the-art stuff, folks. Go, check it out. You can, if you go, register to win because they're going to give away a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Stop by, sign up. You could be a winner if you go to Family Leisure. Always a winner when we chat with our friend Joe Dank. I was going to start with the AAC tournament. We'll get to that in a second. I just blurted out about the thing about Stephen A. Smith. I remember years ago, ESPN had a philosophy. They did not want to promote, like those first 7 or 10 guys that they had. They did not want to promote those dudes because they didn't want to have to pay them. Chris Berman was the first guy who was going to leave. NBC made him an unbelievable offer, and they had to pay him to keep him. But until then, they really tried to make it the product that they promoted endlessly, but never the anchor. Now they got a guy, and he does create headlines. Stephen A. Smith, $100 million for this guy for 5 years, I guess. It's $20 million a year. Is he worth that kind of money to the network?
Well, if you believe in the old line that anything is only worth what somebody's willing to pay.
Right.
Disney is willing to pay it. And look, Stephen A. moves numbers. That's all. He moves numbers. In the old days, SportsCenter was the product, and SportsCenter's numbers were kind of unrelated to who anchored.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they took that approach. Right now, Stephen A. moves numbers in that time period that he dominates in the mornings. What's interesting about this is he's going to make a heck of a lot more money, and he's going to be on less because he's not going to be doing the NBA pregame shows because of the TNT deal, and,
Right.
and they're pulling him back from other places as kind of part of the deal in response to what he wanted. But look, his timing was great. The media environment is such that who's willing to let a big name like that get away? And they know. I mean, Stephen A., McAfee, these guys, these are the guys that move numbers.
McAfee, though, they bought his program, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily they're paying him as a personality. They're paying for the whole production of that, right?
Well, they pay a license fee for the show. But let's not get too far in the weeds on it. They want him on there.
Well,
they want him on the air, so it's him.
Okay, so I think this is happening in news too, especially if you go to like the CNNs of the world, the Fox Newses of the world. This is intriguing to me. You just were talking about how it used to be SportsCenter was the vehicle that moved ESPN, and it was straight sports with a very entertaining way of presenting it, and we saw highlights from everywhere when we didn't used to see that. Now, those things, it seems to me, have diminished, and it's all about hot takes. Stephen A. Smith may be one of the best at the hot takes. McAfee is a hot take guy. All these news programs now are all about a hot take. Have we gone away from the sports centers now to more about basically inflammatory commentary?
So think about an average night. Any night, any time of the year when a sport is on, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a time you tuned in at SportsCenter to see highlights, to find out who won, and watch the top 10.
Yeah, now you can see it on your phone.
Now it's on your phone as it's happening. I mean, you pick up your phone at 8:15 in the evening, and they show the 3 best plays of the game that's on your phone. So there's the highlights. You can watch, you can do the live in-game box score while the whole game's on if you're that interested in knowing how people are.
I do it on my app.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
So, this is all the result of the technological evolution. And so all of a sudden, a guy like a McAfee, a guy like a Stephen A., they just happen to be in the moment and be the guys that have the greatest amount of impact, and so they're the immediate beneficiaries.
So basically, it all comes down to some sort of personality in the end. We want that, and that's what we got. Interesting. All right, let's...
One word.
Okay.
One word for Stephen A. Congratulations.
Yeah.
100 million times over.
$20 million a year to do less.
He'll be fine.
Gosh.
I think he's going to do all right.
I wish I could find that gig.
Yeah.
All right. We wanted to talk a little bit as we get ready for the American Athletic Conference basketball tournament. They have not announced where the next site is going to be. I can tell you this. Timing, as you just said, is everything in life, right? Stephen A. Smith's timing was perfect. McAfee's timing was perfect. For the American, Mike Oresco, who is a pretty smart fella, he decided to move his offices to Dallas because that's where most of the conferences had moved their offices. And I guess he felt like it would be more advantageous for him, for other meetings with multi-conferences to be in Dallas. At the same time, Dickies Arena was opening. And Dickies wanted people to see the event. And attached with the American Athletic Conference is an ESPN exposure heaven. You're going to get, I don't know how many games on all their platforms. Now, with ESPN Plus, every game is on there at some point. So Dickies Arena, brand new, said, we want exposure. We will give you the arena for 5 years if you bring the tournament here. And he had moved his offices there. So it was really perfect. Well, this is the 5th year. That is the end of that Dickies Arena because it has not been that successful in terms of bringing people in. It did get them exposure. Is no longer interested in a free product, giving it away. So now the conference is forced to look at other places. What are you hearing? Where's it going?
Well, I have no insight on where it may be going. I have great hope it comes in one specific place. And, I look at it from this perspective. I think there's really 4 key considerations that would serve this conference well in terms of placing the tournament somewhere. And one is to put it in a home market that actually cares about a team in the conference. I think that's absolutely critical.
If we're really being honest, that's only 2 teams,
Okay.
Memphis and Wichita.
All right. A second consideration.
Maybe South Florida. When they're good, they draw.
Understood. Second consideration would be a great facility, let's say an NBA arena. Okay.
Okay.
Third consideration, how about a natural tourist destination that has entertainment options for fans when they come to a basketball tournament for something to do?
Yeah.
And then number 4, a commitment by the conference to really promote and brand the event. So obviously this all leads to where we are sitting now, and put this tournament in Memphis. We were talking earlier today. The Dickies Arena might be the greatest thing in the world. It might be the best deal in the world. It's hard to beat free.
Yeah, you can't beat that.
But what level of general market awareness will there be in the Dallas Metroplex this week that the AAC tournament is playing in Fort Worth at this arena?
Well,
it'll be 0.
It's unfortunate. Again, timing. Okay? The best game played at Dickies Arena in the 5 years was Memphis versus number 1 Houston for the championship a couple of years ago. SMU was in the league. They were never good. Wichita State, I've already mentioned how well they draw. They have not had a good team. And Wichita is not that long a drive from Fort Worth. So that really is unfortunate. I'm going to throw Birmingham in here, too, because I believe Birmingham, I know Birmingham because I was told by their people that they have made a bid. And, they don't have to hold it in Bartow. They've got the I'm trying to remember. It's Legacy Arena, I think is what it's called. It's been remodeled. It's the old Jefferson County Civic Center where many a big game has been played there. I think last year, the year before, that was a site for the NCAA first and second rounds. It's a good arena. You could play it there. You could actually do the men and the women in the same place, put the women in Bartow. If you wanted to, and then put the semifinals in the championship game in Legacy, whatever you want to do, you could do that in Memphis. By the way, if you want to hold the women, you could put the women until the championship semifinals and championship game. Put them at El Marone. You could do the Super Pit game they're doing this year, the 12-13 games in El Marone. Play the championship in Memphis. Memphis is the best because there is an entertainment district. That's where Dickies, I think, went wrong. Dickies was supposed to be around an entertainment district, and maybe they'll build it. They had to have a lot of land because they do rodeos, and it's a great arena, but it's pretty isolated. I don't think it's as good as Memphis would be for that reason. Charlotte, they got an NBA arena and they got an on-campus arena. Their on-campus arena is pretty close to 2 different entertainment areas. That'd be a good place. I don't think they've bid though.
But again, here's the primary distinction in everything we're talking about. Okay, Charlotte basketball in that market,
nothing.
Nobody cares.
No.
Birmingham,
they care. They can draw 10,000 for a home game.
I understand, but what did it take to get 10,000 in that place? Who came?
Took the mayor to say.
Who was the opponent?
Oh, it took Memphis.
Of course. So,
it takes Auburn, Alabama, or Memphis to draw a crowd.
Well, I understand, and only one of them is in the league, so the other 2 are coming from that standpoint. The point remains, if Memphis got behind this, made a big deal. I talked about branding. There's just a couple of examples that are out there of these conference tournaments. And let's face it, the Big 4 conferences are the Big 4 conferences. We're not talking about that right now. Can this league make the best of the rest? And even create a nice event. The Missouri Valley Conference hosts its tournament in St. Louis. They call it Arch Madness.
Right.
It's been extraordinarily successful.
Is
it's
it
become
still?
a week. Yes, it is, and it's a week-long destination for people to come. They hang in St. Louis. St. Louis has some interesting factors. There's another one I just came across in preparation for this. There's something now called Starch Madness. It's in Boise, Idaho,
that makes sense.
and it's the Big Sky. Okay, so
does it draw? Here's the thing that I want to know: do these conferences? I can remember when Memphis was in the Metro, It drew wherever it was. They rotated it around. Fans would come. Memphis would come. Everybody would come. It was really terrific. I just think all across, even maybe the Big Four, I'm not sure conference championships mean as much as they used to.
If you don't promote it, you guarantee that no one's coming.
Yeah.
Okay? So what are your options? Put your tournament in an isolated arena outside Fort Worth and might as well locate the tournament in the witness protection program, or put it in a market that cares about the team. The media market, if that conference tournament was here, would be a big deal in this market as opposed to not being a big deal in Dallas. So and this is where we are now. Houston's not in the league anymore, and SMU's not in the league anymore. And we're not talking about the last 5 years. We're talking about the next 5 years. Right. So I think that's a fair play.
Whatever they do, I hope they put it in a home. I hope it's here. But I hope they put it in a hometown, because I hear there's a neutral that makes no sense to me. And that would be they get a money grab, but it would be very poor in my estimation. All right. Redbirds, Cardinals. Games coming up very, very soon. Did I hear ticket prices are 3 figures?
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing. The Redbirds are going to host their parent club, the St. Louis Cardinals, on Monday, March 24th. The game is at 6:15. Here's the range of ticket prices, okay? You can get the owner's seats. Now, we know that's an exclusive. That's a premium offering. Those are those nice padded chairs right next to the dugout, right next to the on-deck circle.
Right.
Those are $160.
$160 for an exhibition game?
Absolutely.
Whoa.
You know those 4 top tables right behind home plate?
Yeah.
$145.
Wow.
Per ticket, you got to buy 4 because you got to buy the whole table. That's the only way they're selling them. Okay? So
that's almost $600.
But in all fairness, those are premium offerings. No, and that's not the general public.
Okay.
We don't.
I understand high end. People can afford it.
People want to go.
It's a one-off thing. Okay,
That's fine.
give me the average fan price.
Now let's go to the average fan. So you want to sit in that lower bowl between first and third in a front row type environment. $110.
Expensive.
That's a big number.
How many of those are there? Do you know?
I don't know the total number available. Okay. It might be just the front row. It might be the first couple. The middle rows in that area of that between first and third lower bowl, so $77.50. Those seats.
What are we talking? 15th row, 10th row, somewhere in there?
Yeah, in that
$77.
$77. The higher rows are $44.50.
Is that the cheapest ticket in the house? $44.50?
Well, you can sit down the right field line or the left field line, beyond the infield in those sections for $39. And then the place we've talked about before that we love, that upper deck with the great view of the field and everything else.
That's got to be expensive.
$55.50.
Oh, that's not so bad.
Not terrible.
Considering $39 looks like the cheapest ticket.
Now, I was online this morning looking. I mean, there are tickets everywhere still available, and the game is in less than 2 weeks.
Well, it hasn't been promoted at all. That is part of, in my estimation, part of Diamond Baseball, which owns this team.
Yes.
It's part of their problem is that they don't want to spend any money on promotion. And I'll give you a good example. I love Craig Unger, but Craig didn't want to spend a penny on radio. And I can tell you, I approached him because this station had carried the Redbirds in the past, was interested in continuing to carry the Redbirds, and he basically said, if you want to do it, if you put us on for free, we'll do it. And of course, this station is not a not-for-profit organization, and they said no, and he was not interested at all. And I hate to say it, but that seems to be their philosophy. They have not. Have you seen an advertisement, a promotion anywhere on any of the media outlets about this game? Because I haven't.
Not in any of the traditional media. I became aware of it by getting a series of emails. Only because in
social
the past,
media.
The minute you buy a ticket, which is great. I always think digital is the greatest way to communicate with the choir, as it will. But we always know the choir's coming. How are you going to attract others? You mentioned Diamond Baseball Holdings. I do think that's a very interesting thing. That is the owner of this club. The CEO of the firm is Peter Freund. Peter owned the Redbirds with Craig, and they were one of the first teams sold.
Well, he owned 901 FC with Craig. I don't think Craig has an ownership stake in the Redbirds.
Well, I guess that's true. I'm sorry, misstated that. But Freund did, and this company made its first purchase in minor league baseball in December of 2021. They bought 10 teams at that time, and Memphis was one of them. Today, they own 41 of the 120 minor league baseball teams that are out there. They're partners with Silver Lake. That's a private equity fund. They've made a $2 billion investment in minor league baseball. So this is a big deal. And, we've talked now, and it's interesting that these ticket prices under this ownership group are as high as they are. And by my guess, less than half those tickets are sold with just 2 weeks to go.
Maybe they overpriced it. I don't know. That's a discussion. And I know you're not going to be here with us next week. Week after, we can talk more about the investment that they've made and the money they're getting other places to make improvements in the ballpark, which they're not doing here on their own. They were hoping to get more money, and that we'll put that into the deal with the Grizzlies and FedEx Forum. But we're out of time as always. We appreciate that. We're back in just a minute. Munzie will join us a little bit late here on Wolo and Friends.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows. Stay up to date with station events and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Hello? Hey, little sis. Did you get your W-2 yet? Yes, I did. Well, last year when I told you to file early to get your refund quick? Yes, I remember. Well, go ahead and call now, and you can get your refund fast. Thanks. That's why I love you. Always looking out for your little sis.
To get your taxes filed quick and get your refund fast, go to Brenton Tax Service, located in Midtown Memphis on Madison Avenue. We may not be related to you, but at Brenton Tax Service, we protect you like family.
Progressive knows owning a home can be hard, but not always. Like when you're relaxing on your patio, enjoying a nice, quiet evening. So quiet. Except for the sound of the neighbor's party. Which you said you'd go to if you weren't busy. And you're quiet right on the patio. That's not exactly busy, is it? Maybe you should just stay inside. At least Progressive's Home Quote Explorer lets you easily compare rates, so shopping for insurance is the easiest part of owning a home. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations. Prices vary based on how you buy.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Well, I was stunned yesterday when I saw that 3 Tigers made first team all AAC. Then I realized they had 10 players on the team, which is, what the SEC used to do. They used to have 7 or 8 on their teams. Yes. 10, though. So they got 20 guys that made the 2 teams. I didn't love that. I don't know. Does Jason Munz love that? Jason Munz, how surprised were you that the Tigers got Coach of the Year, Player of the Year, Newcomer of the Year, and 3 on first team All-Conference? Good morning.
Good morning. I wasn't surprised, especially about Newcomer, Player, and Coach of the Year. And I really wasn't surprised about the other stuff. I mean, I've been saying for a while that I felt like Dane and PJ were surefire first teamers. I didn't realize until relatively recently that they were moving to 10 players, and I actually asked the league for like an explanation for why they did that.
Why? Yeah, good question.
And here's what it says. Coaches suggested it as a way to honor more on the all-conference teams since we didn't add any spots after we grew the league by a few schools. It then went through the approval process and got approved. So that's the explanation. It is what it is. And but if you look at it, it's interesting. There of the 10 players on the first team, 5 were unanimous picks, and the other 5
I saw that. So that should have been your first team. The 5 unanimous.
Yes.
The second team should have been the next 5. And then the third team, I'm okay with a third team. That would have been 5. 15 guys you're honoring. You didn't need to honor 20. And, it was ridiculous. How many FAU players were on this team, on these teams? On a team that was,
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I know 2 at least.
no, they had 3. Baba Miller.
Oh, right, 3. Yeah, you're right.
Trey Carroll, maybe.
Trey Carroll for sure.
Yeah.
Trey Carroll was like the sportsmanship guy.
That's right. He was. He won the sportsmanship award.
What's the criteria for that?
That's a good question.
I would love to know. But he was also most improved. Trey Carroll was co-most improved award winner. But
you know why he was most improved? Because during the year he went from being a sixth man to a starter.
Yeah, but yeah, the unanimous picks for the first team were Dane Danger, PJ Haggerty, Yaxel Lindeborg, R.J. Felton, and Atten Wright from North Texas, the guard from North Texas. That was a little bit surprising to me. Don't get me wrong; like he's probably their best player, and he did score 42 the other night. In a game, but that was a little bit surprising to me that he was a unanimous pick. And then
what though, I'm not surprised, and I'll tell you why. They're the second best team in the league.
I agree,
and he's their best player, and he is dangerous. He's the best offensive threat on the team that does not have a lot of offensive threats. So that makes sense to me. Yaxel makes sense to me. I honestly thought Jamal Mashburn would be on it. Last I saw, he played in the last to the regular season game. I don't know if he played in the last one, but I looked at the box score.
No, he hasn't played since February 12th, and he has missed a total of 8 conference games. He only played in 10.
Now, the second to last... Wait a second. Go back and look at this, because I looked at a box score. The second to last game, not the last one, second to last game, he scored 19 points.
Yeah, I looked at his personal profile page on the Temple website, and the last time they show him playing is February 12th. Now, I will double-check. Since you brought that up, I do want to make sure I've got that right. But
I think that's wrong. When would the last? When was the second to last game? That would be
March 4th. I'm looking at it right now. It was against Tulsa, and he did not play.
That's the last game, right?
That's
the last game. So look at the game before that.
No. The last game was North Texas. They beat North Texas on March 9th.
So
the second to last game.
March 4th when they played Temple. You're saying he did not play.
No, when they played Tulsa, he did not play in that Tulsa game on March 4th. And did not play against the game before that. He did not play against South Florida.
I must have read it wrong then. Okay.
Yeah, so he hasn't played. He only played 10 games in conference, and so if you go by what we're talking about, you had the 5 unanimous picks on the first team, 5 non-unanimous picks. He wouldn't have even been second team if they did it the way they normally did it. I mean, he's technically second team now because again they're 10 players. And the other thing is, nothing against the AAC, the Big 12 still does 10 players on each team. So this is not completely out of left field. It is what it is.
I've seen the SEC do 7 or 8 guys on each team for years.
Yeah,
so.
I think it's a little strange, but I guess it's part of the direction we're headed.
Okay, where if the Tigers win out, will they be seeded? What's the number?
I think if they went out, I cannot see a scenario where if they went out, Memphis will be a 29-win double champion. And I know that it's a double champion in a league that's not very good.
With 11 quad 1 and 2 wins.
Correct. And 11 true road wins, and it would be then 16 combined road and neutral wins. 16 wins away from home is what it would turn out to be. And you would think, if it plays out the way it should, that at least one of the wins that they would pick up in Fort Worth this week would be a quad 2 win. So there's a chance that there will be 12 quad 1 and 2 wins by the time we get to Selection Sunday. I do not see a situation again where a 29-win double champion with all those quad 1 and 2 wins and all those wins away from its home floor is not at least a 6 seed.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it being a 7 if it's a deal where, sorry, I should back up. I think they're at least a 7. I think the more realistic scenario is they're a 6, because I just, and I understand they're going to need a little bit of help. It would help if Marquette lost early. It would help if, Ole Miss lost early. Those sorts of things. It would help.
Did it hurt that Gonzaga finally beat St. Mary's last night? Could they move into that position?
In some people's minds, it did. Like Joe Lunardi updated his bracketology, and Gonzaga.
I don't get that, because the St. Mary's will be the only team that'll be a tournament team they've beaten. And they've only played like 3 or 4, and they lost to the others. They lost to Kentucky. They might have beaten Baylor, but Baylor's a bubble team. Yeah. That if you did a blind resume with the Tigers, I promise you that's a 5 seed.
Yeah, the thing that is going to be one of the fascinating things that is going to be determined, that we're going to be able to glean from where Memphis is seated, if they go on and win the tournament this week, is what the committee puts more emphasis on. Do they give you what?
More predictive or more resume driven?
No, see. I was going to say, what do they put more weight on? Your good wins or your bad losses?
And they got 3 bad losses.
Because you just mentioned Gonzaga has only the 1 win over a tournament team this season. Well, Memphis has got what, like 4, 5, or 6, something like that.
Oh yeah, at least.
But Gonzaga doesn't have bad losses, and Memphis, as it turns out, does. And it didn't help that Wichita State lost the other day at home to one of the worst teams in the league in Tulsa, and it wasn't even really close. I think it was a double-digit home loss to Tulsa.
Wow.
And that dropped them back to a quad 3 loss.
What would happen if the Tigers lost to either South Florida or Wichita State on Friday?
I think you're an 8 or a 9, possibly, probably even a 9 at that point.
I've never seen a variance for one team.
Yeah.
When conference tournaments usually mean nothing. And this team could go from a 6 to a 9. That to me is just absolutely bizarre. All right.
I was just going to say real quick. I think they're a 7. I think they're a 7 right now. They could play their way up to a 6 possibly, but they could also play their way down to an 8.
Let's hope that's not as. I'm going to be honest right now. If I were a 1 seed and I saw Memphis as an 8 or 9, I would not be a happy camper. That would be
I would
total
be
injustice.
Yeah.
The meetings today are being held somewhere, maybe in Fort Worth, with ADs and I guess presidents. Are they going to play 20-game? You were the first one to have this 20-game conference stuff, which is just ridiculous, that notion. What's going to happen here?
I don't see a scenario where that's going to happen. I think that, I know that it was about as close to being rubber stamped as you could possibly get at one point. And I think as this season has played out and as Tim Pernetti has gotten more settled into his role as commissioner, I think he has come to the realization that now is not the right time for that. Not saying it won't happen, but I am saying that they're at least reconsidering, and I think they're heavily reconsidering it, and they're going to talk about it today.
Well, he's on the right wavelength with trying to get Challenge Series with the A-10, the Mountain West, but making Memphis play Charlotte and Rice 2 more games, that would be even more damaging to chances to getting good seating. I'll see you in Fort Worth tomorrow night. Be safe in your travels. Can't wait for this tournament to commence.
I look forward to it, Wolo. Thank you.
Thank you. That is our beat writer from the Commercial Appeal. That is Jason Munz. He's brought to you by Southern Security, your home team credit union. If you're a small business owner, maybe you're a single mom, maybe you're buying your first home, Southern Security, he is the place to go because they could be your trusted financial partner for over 75 years. They've been serving the Mid-South with the best rates, the best service, and always the newest technology. That's why they've been voted best credit union in the Mid-South for 6 straight years, looking at a 7th. To find out how you can join the Southern Security family, you can go to southernsecurity.org, like most people do, or you can actually talk to a human being. Call a member service team guy at 901-452-7900. Southern Security, proud supporter of U of M Athletics and 901 Women. Southern Security, that's your home team credit union, federally insured by NCUA. I'll talk to you tomorrow from Fort Worth, Texas. Johnny Radio's right around the corner. Have a great day, everybody.
Owning your own home is wonderful, and buying your own home can be wonderfully easy. If your agent is Margie O'Neill of Remax Expert, Margie has over 20 years of experience in helping folks just like you find their new home. Buyers market, sellers markets, up and down markets, Margie has sold them all with a dedication that makes it easy for you to buy your new home. Margie O'Neill at Remax.net. That's MARGIE.ONEAL at Remax.net. Or call 901-685-6000 for your new home. Margie O'Neill makes it easy.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director of Lexus in Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
First ever preseason pool spa and patio event is going on now at Family Leisure. First time ever. Unbelievable savings. You want a pool? They're starting at just $19.99. How about a spa? They're starting at just $29.99. Patio furniture sets are starting at $7.99. Cold plunges and swim spas are just, well, I can't even say those prices. But I will say, they're priced to move. There are so many deals going on right now during the first ever preseason pool spa and patio event. You've got to come in and see the savings for yourself. But wait, there's more. You can register to win either a free pool, a spa, or a patio set. Yes, a free pool, spa, or patio set. Just stop our Family Leisure to sign up. This is a first time ever preseason pool, spa, patio event. It's going on right now at Family Leisure. Family Leisure. When you're under I-40, family and fun come together.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises. Just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it. Because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Tito's Handmade Vodka is America's favorite vodka for a reason. From the first legal distillery in Texas, Tito's is 6 times distilled till it's just right and naturally gluten-free, making it a high-quality sweet spirit that mixes with just about everything. From the smoothest martinis to the best Bloody Marys, beyond the bottle, Tito's has gained a reputation for giving back, teaming up with nonprofits around the world to serve its community and do good for dogs. Make your next cocktail with Tito's and learn more at Tito'sVodka.com. 40% alcohol by volume, mainly 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly.
Hey, little sis. Did you get your W-2 yet?
Yes, I did.
Well, you know last year when I told you to file early to get your refund quick?
Yes, I remember.
Well, go ahead and call now, and you can get your refund fast.
Thanks. That's why I love you. Always looking out for your little sis.
To get your taxes filed quick and get your refund fast, go to Brenton Tax Service, located in Midtown Memphis on Madison Avenue. We may not be related to you, but at Brenton Tax Service, we protect you like family.
56 WHBQ Memphis and W253DF Memphis with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10.
Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. Welcome into a little Sports 56 happy hour. I'm your buddy Johnny. Radio is a little hump day action up in this bad boy. And the weather is beautiful. And I'm going to tell you right now, weather's got me thinking about all kinds of things. Man, baseball, we really hadn't even talked about it. I love it. Already a whole lot of stuff's been going down with baseball. We'll kind of touch upon that a little bit. But the weather, man. Like, y'all realize, we got all kinds of things coming up, man. We got Wing Fest. We got barbecue cook-offs. We got the little music-y party downtown. Like, May's going to be here before you know it.
It's called something different this year.
I know, I need to look it up. Riverbeat. Yeah,
right.
Me and Superman are actually introducing all the bands on May 2nd.
Really?
And all that stuff.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so
okay.
I kind of actually need to probably get on
you need to
top
read up
of
on
that. But don't you worry.
I'm debating if I'm going to go or not.
You know I'm going to be on top of it.
I know you will be.
I'll be there. I'm going to be ready. I won't
John,
be square.
Speaking of baseball, I want to get something off my chest, and I want to get your opinion on it. You've been watching spring training games, I suppose, or at least a couple of them.
Gambling on them.
Wow,
man.
okay. Different level. What do you think about the ABS challenge? I love it. Okay,
I love it.
I'm glad that you said
I
love it.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
You know how, and all of us do this, and again, y'all know, I say this all the time, I'm probably one of the biggest hypocrites in the world because we all are hypocrites. We're very good at, telling other people what to do and then doing exactly what we tell them not to do, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Before also, the other thing that we do pretty bad is right when we hear something and we don't really actually know exactly what's going on, we make assumptions, and assumptions make asses out of all of us. And my assumption was that this was going to get rid of the plate umpire early on in its conception. I thought it was going to be like watching the games. We were watching a little Sunday night baseball, and we see the little box. And that's all we're going to see is catcher, a pitcher, a little box, and that's what's calling balls and strikes. I, in my mind, did not really have even close to a touch of what the reality of the way they do it. And if you don't understand right now what me and Dacus are talking about, the ABS system in baseball that they've been trying out in the minors, and again, I did learn about it in the minors, but again, conceptually, and I think a lot of people are like me still, they're like, I don't need no damn robots, et cetera, et cetera. Some people who are young are like, yeah, give me robots. Well, you're not going to be happy because there's not robots. And there isn't up. And they do their job just like they normally do. A pitcher or a catcher has to call. The pitcher basically, or batter, the catcher, has to initiate and say, no, I think that was a strike. You called it a ball. Or no, the batter would say, no, that was not a strike. It was a ball. You only get a couple of these bad boys.
I believe both teams get two.
Two of them. And heck, we saw the very first game. It was like, the second pitch of the ball game? We also saw Max Scherzer do it in the first pitch of his game. So, it's kind of cool in an aspect because, again, I've seen a few of the spring training games. There was one where it was the seventh inning and there was bases juiced. And dude throws a strike right on the corner, And instead of being, there's a big difference in being a ball 0-1 and 1-0. You know what I mean? Like that's a huge difference. The ump missed it. And it was kind of because the man was set up on the inside. The ball kind of tailed across, and he caught it with his backhand. And it's amazing how, just that slight movement or where it looks off to an umpire for a catcher and the way he catches the ball, the assumption is, well, it was a bad pitch. Well, he was set up so far on the inside that, believe it or not, it caught basically almost the outer third of the plate, the entire third. I loved it. I like the way it's used. I think it's working out well. And I think it's definitely baseball is making a step in the right direction. What was my first thought when the pitcher clock came in?
Oh, you hated it.
Man, I hated the idea of it. And it goes back to me when I was, of course, and we all do this, we compare our own life experiences. When I was a young kid pitching, I would have hated it. And we watch some pitchers, and again, these guys are professional athletes. They're in good shape. But man, when you have to continuously go in one of those innings, you got a guy who's in the box and he's battling. You've thrown 8, 9 pitches to this guy. Then next thing you know, you give up a walk. Next thing you know, you're facing the 6th, 7th hitter in that rotation, and you're doing it all on a timing basis. You are getting tired, and we saw a bunch of pitchers labor through some of these longer innings. I thought it was fascinating. It also brings in another thing, another dynamic to where not just hitting for the ball.